Okay, shamans and psychologists are going to be the new famous people. I just saw someone else post about this, but this article explains why. It has to do with proof that we're in an information universe. Physics, we are moving away from, and we are diving into the information beneath it. And I'll explain where the shaman therapist comes in a moment. Okay, this is one of many papers in 2024 that basically proves we're in some type of information hologram. But a lot of these papers are missing the key element, which I'm going to tell you. This specific paper, and I'll break it down really easy for you, is called Noisy Initial State Qubit Channel Meteorology with Additional Undesirable Noisy Evolution. The implications for this article is what matters. So there's this thing called quantum information. I implore you to think of it more as consciousness or having to do with that. But basically in the paper, they talk about quantum information and its interactions with noisy and complex systems. The plasma field. Sorry, I jumped ahead. So in this paper, they emphasize encoding, transmission, and the processing of quantum information within systems. Reality, in their eyes, can be understood as an interplay of quantum information, where physical phenomena emerge from information structures. So they believe that quantum channels, qubits, and noise are not just mathematical constructs. They reflect how reality operates fundamentally at the deepest level, like we're in a quantum computer. But I have something to say about this too. Daniel Collins was one of the people that authored this paper. He studies quantum non-locality, quantum information, and quantum foundations. Their paper also implies that the universe is not deterministic, which is great news. It's a balance between chaos, which is noise, and order, which is coherence. Okay, I got ChatGPT to organize my thoughts so you guys can read along with me. It also suggests that reality is layered and relational. Basically, the properties of one part depend on its interactions with the other. It's all a relationship. I've been saying this since this entire time. I'm going to get to why this relates to spiritual shaman therapists being the new celebrities and what it also has to do with my plasma consciousness synergy theory. Just keep your mind open. Basically, our entire universe is a spiritual and alive feedback loop, all for your experience as a multidimensional person, or what I would call multidimensional self. So their perspective aligns with the holographic universe, or an interconnected perspective where the whole is encoded within its parts. For those of you who remember Jason Paget, I make a lot of videos about him and black holes and his quantum state vectors and angular frequency. This is actually all the same thing. Everyone's saying the same thing. We're very close to a very interesting reality, guys. I'm optimistic about this future. Reality is also context dependent. There's something called quantum meteorology. It is basically just the study of quantum mechanics to make precise measurements of physical parameters. Trust me, that confused me too. It refers to basically the potential use of quantum computing principles, particularly quantum entanglement, superposition, to improve the accuracy and resolution of weather forecasting by allowing for more detailed simulations of atmospheric phenomena so they can predict extreme weather. But you can use this model and so many other things. So this is the most important one for me. Reality is not absolute. It depends on the observer's framework, the tools used, and the informational environment, reinforcing that this is a participatory universe. And they spoke about this hundreds of years ago. It was called the Romantic period, which I'm about to get to, finally. To close it out, they see reality as probabilistic and dynamic. This is also what I believe and what Jason Paget has been saying. Reality is constantly evolving, shaped by underlying quantum states and their interactions. Basically, guys, our consciousness. Like, come on, just say it. Just say it. If you could think of reality, everything around us is made of plasma, the fourth state of matter, which would make sense if it's an element, the fifth element. Think of this higher dimensional plasma. Think of it as this mist, like little dust particles. Maybe it's the qubits, maybe it's even what they're made out of, maybe it's even smaller than that. I can't tell you that. But think about when light hits these maybe like higher dimensional dust plasma particles. That is how we see our reality. It's light hitting. Light needs to hit something for us to see it. You could think of it as a mirror. You could think of it as the plasma field. You could think of it as energy. And I think that it's projected from a base plasma that's more like two-dimensional, where there's a one-dimensional singularity or light coming through that, and then creating our 3D reality. And then our 4D reality, which is our emotions. which inform our 3D reality as well. So it's on both layers. It's like we're in a sandwich. And then don't even get me started on 5D because this video just took a crazy spin. But basically, if you can think of this in a sandwich and 1D is the singularity, 5D would be like kind of like the singularity mixed with plasma. So it would be like a realm of where our fears transmuted into love, and there's perfect synergy of plasma and consciousness, or information and reality. More utopia-like, where I think our higher selves are. I think it makes sense, and I think one day it'll be proven. Okay. It also is the potential for us, it's hinting at a possible multidimensional framework, which is what my new book is all about, plasma, consciousness, and your multidimensional self, and how to use these things as tools in your life. The link is in my bio for my upcoming book. But this is like real science, because mine are philosophies. This is based on science and metaphysics and mythology. These are real scientists studying these things, and this supports my theories. There was a romanticism period between then. They basically believed in emotion over reason, personal fulfillment, and following your heart. They believed that the universe was something we helped create with our imagination, our emotions, our perception, and they were right. We observe reality and we create reality, and then we observe it again and we create it again. It is the feedback loop of our consciousness observing and interacting with plasma or reality, whatever you want to call it. I think calling it plasma opens it up to be studied in ways we've never studied it or looked at it before. It is very hard to break apart the word reality. It is not hard to break apart the word plasma, and the deeper you go, the more you find. Trust me. Check out my Plasma Intelligence playlist. It all connects. And I'm not in some delusion. It is a real thing. And it is gaining speed. It is like a yin-yang of plasma and consciousness, where each part is in each other, or what you can call information and reality, or our environment. But here's the thing, yourself, your multidimensional self, these are tools for you to experience reality. And once you start to think of plasma and consciousness, or information and reality, as a tool for yourself, your world will change. This is when I get into these like shamanic psychologists who probably, I hope, don't look like this, because then we'll never take them all seriously. Some can, just not all of them. Basically, these new shamanic psychologists will be training us on how to harness our mind, our emotions, our conscious awareness in an ethical, in a non-trauma informed way. In a trauma-informed way, where we can cross out our limiting beliefs, where we can overcome our traumas, be able to view reality in a more benevolent way. Because when we're in a state of fear or limiting beliefs based on most of us who have been traumatized, it actually affects how we see reality and how we create reality and what we think is possible for ourselves. And now with this study that I think it's definitely part of how the universe works, the number one thing we should all be working on is knowing ourselves, who we really are, healing our traumas. And we need therapists who are well-versed in the spiritual, the shamanic, the metaphysical, the mystical, and also the physics and biology to get us through this, so we can become creators of our reality, but also know when to surrender. So my theory is called plasma consciousness synergy, one of my theories. Basically that we are in a feedback loop of these two, and it creates our reality, and our multidimensional self uses these things as tools. I'm writing about how in my upcoming book. Plasma serves as the medium for these interactions, encoding and transmitting consciousness. You can think of plasma as the quantum channel. Both noisy and coherent, it facilitates the creation and experience of reality through feedback loops with your consciousness, which is the encoder and decoder. It is the observer and creator collapsing probabilities, quantum wave functions, and feeding back into the plasma field to encode new possibilities. This also allows parallel and interconnected realities to exist simultaneously, and we can access them if we train ourselves to. So this paper lended scientific credibility to my theory by showing how quantum systems operate in a feedback loop similar to my plasma consciousness framework. I am saying the same thing, but it's more what this one guy, I think his name is Ivan Devtak, calls psychocosmology. I don't know all his theories, but that's a great word. It's the mix of our psychology and cosmology. Noise coherence you can think of as emotional, mental, and energetic states within the plasma consciousness system. So I'm basically just filtering all this science and making it more about ourselves. And when you can connect the two, it's magic. This holographic plasma network connects consciousness across dimensions, possibly even back to the singularity where the whole universe is learning about itself. Bye.